This is the Look Ahead with Scott Seidenberg on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on the Look Ahead, I'm Scott Seidenberg on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Joining me in studio, very special guest, his first Circa in-studio appearance, Bill Krackomberger, who you see all the time on with Gil over at the South Point. But welcome to the Circa studio, Bill.
Hey, good. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me on. This is fun. Jason has been asking me to come on a couple times. It's so tough on a Thursday when you get up in the morning. I get up at 6:30 to go down there, and then I went home, took a little nap, and came over here for a little late night talk.
Yeah, not as drastic as me waking up at 9 a.m. to make sure I got my Mets bet in. But you waking up a little earlier is okay. Now, we love your appearances on Gil, and we wanted to get you on the night audience. And here at Circa, of course, I saw you got mobbed outside on the way in. It's like you're a celebrity. They wouldn't let you pass.
Nice people, man. Listen, I'm a blue-collar guy. I'm the regular Joe. I'm the guy that drives a Kia. I can drive any car I want. I choose to drive a Kia because that's just who I am. I'm the thing you want to be is relatable to your public. Yep. You want to be, and that's who I am. And when I see people out there, it was cool. Some people ask to take pictures. I mean, I'm a sports bettor. I mean, right? A guy's out there curing cancer, and they're asking me to take pictures. But it's cool, though. They're nice. They're a good fan base. And then I seen Derek and the boys over there, and Derek Stevens was popped out of his chair. He was so high. He goes, "What are you doing here?" And then, yeah, he's great. And he's having this, I guess they just announced the Circa Millions. And that's great. That's great. And last year, I don't know. Am I allowed to say? God, what he just told me. I'm trying to think if I should say that or not.
Well,
all right. Well, he did. He had to give away money out of his pocket last year. There was an
overlay.
The one contest had a big overlay,
yes.
and I don't know what's going to happen this year. But there's more money that he's giving out this year. Right? Did he guarantee $12 million?
$12 million guaranteed.
$12 million guaranteed he could put out there.
The largest contest here in Vegas. Largest contest anywhere.
Yeah, this will be.
It's incredible.
This will be fun. I enjoy. I have a podcast I do with John Orlando and Tony Orlando's son, and we've had some great people on there. And Derek came on last year with us a couple times. We've had on so many people: Marcus Allen, Warren Moon. I'm really fortunate. I had Larry Culmus on this week, who called the Kentucky
horse
Derby.
Racing guy. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not really a horse racing guy because, Scott, I'm a positive EV guy, and once I learned horse racing, how bad the mathematics of it is, you understand where I come from. I was a little degen when I was a kid. And I used to take a bus from Kingsburg to Long Branch to Monmouth Park and just blow my money that I would hustle and make all during the week at the boardwalk. I used to work for my aunt and uncle since I'm 9 years old, cutting pizzas in Kingsburg on the boardwalk. They still have the place, by the way, 50 years later. But yeah, and I used to blow it at the racetrack. Like I didn't know any better. But I always made my own money. I always worked. I mean, probably nobody worked more blue collar jobs than me. So that little town experience and growing up and interaction with people from 9 years old actually made me to get the person I am today, to be honest with you.
See, this is why I connect with you and why I respect you so much, is that we have very similar backgrounds. We're both from New York. You're from the Bronx. I'm
originally
from Brooklyn.
Yep.
We both grew up in Jersey as well, by the Jersey Shore.
Yep.
Both pizzeria guys for a long time. 17 years I spent in the pizza business.
You did?
17 years in the pizza game, from when I was 17 to 34.
My aunt and uncle, who was my mother's side was Italian, Philomena, was my mother's name. She, her family was in the pizza business, in the restaurant business, and they still have pizza places till this day. And my cousins have carried on tradition of traditional good boardwalk pizza. Literally, I'll put my cousin Anthony's pizza up almost against anybody. Now, I like the New Haven style pizza now that I know what it is.
Okay.
The thinner pizza, the beach style.
Yep.
But I do like the boardwalk pizza. And, using the good grande cheese and using the good tomatoes and stuff, it just is, this show can go anywhere.
Look, this is why I wanted to have you on. Well, speaking of pizza, all right, you got to help me out here. I moved here in September, and I found a couple of places that are respectable. But I defer to you on this. Where do I have to go for the best Vegas pizza?
If you like Sicilian pizza, there's a couple good Sicilian places.
I got to cut you off here.
Sure.
I never understood where this whole Detroit thing came from. Detroit pizza. It's Sicilian. It's a square pie.
I never heard of Detroit pizza until I moved to Vegas, by the way.
Me neither. I don't know what this Detroit...
It's kind of like a deep dish, but it's square. It's got the thick crust on the end of it. Yeah.
It's Sicilian. I guess, they butter the side of the pan.
They butter the side of the pan. Yeah, we'll let him talk about it. That's fine. By the way, I actually I go to Chicago all the time. I actually do. I am a fan of certain Chicago deep dish also. It's round.
That's not pizza, though.
Right.
That's fine. You can have your tomato sauce pie with your crust or whatever. It's okay. It's just not pizza. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not what we're used to.
Sure.
So help me find something out here, because I do have a couple of places that I like I said are respectable, but nothing is my go-to just yet.
Okay. Here you're not going to find nothing like home, but we have a place called IDK Pizza over on. Boy, I don't know this. It's IDK Pizza. I'm sorry. You could tell that I'm not being paid to do a plug. That's for sure. But IDK makes a round Sicilian pizza. He found me on Twitter one day and said, "You got to try our pizza compared to someone else's." I tried it. The Sicilian's excellent. IDK. Also, there's a place over on Durango and Desert Inn. It probably used to be a little bit better, Villa Pizza, but it still gets voted number one by Las Vegas Review-Journal. Villa Pizza.
Okay.
They're square pie, same thing. Mm-hmm. They're the only two pizzas I would really go with in town. And just to let you know, I really don't even eat them. So it goes to show you, I don't order pizza here because I'm back east so much during football and basketball. You know, I'm being an advantage sports bettor. I like to have the options of having the DraftKings and the FanDuels and the different sports books and options that I have there. So, and I'm always finding myself going to New York, going to North Jersey, like going to New Haven. There's a couple places in New Haven I love. Zupardi's.
Don Pepe's.
Yeah, Frank Pepe's is good.
Frank Pepe's, yeah.
But you're thinking Don Pepe's, you think about the racetrack, a great Italian place up by Aqueduct Racetrack is Don Pepe's. That is impossible to get into, by the way. Family style, great place. But yeah, so I'm used to these certain pizzas. Sally's at Pizza over there on Worcester. But I also like New York pizza too. I like John's of Bleecker. I'm a fan of that. Mm-hmm. Thin cut type of pizza. Even though in Jersey, but out here, I really can't get. What's the one that's under the Brooklyn Bridge? They have tons of locations here too. There's a couple of them here.
Well, there's one that I'll recommend.
Okay, yeah. What do you like? Tell me.
Good family friend from Brooklyn who's been out here for a long time. Actually, I don't know if you ever see that show Tanked on the Discovery Channel with the
I've heard of it. They make the fish tanks.
Yeah.
I have seen it. I have seen it.
So Brett Raymer's the guy on that show. He's an old family friend from Brooklyn. He just opened up a place off of Silverado Ranch called Stallone's.
Okay.
Got to check that place out.
Silverado Ranch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bermuda, I think.
What I was thinking is Grimaldi's. I just looked it up.
Yeah,
Grimaldi's
is always
so Grimaldi's.
The Staten Island one is the best.
Right. It's a thin crust pizza. Mm-hmm. It's good. I like their white pizza at Grimaldi's. That's really about it out here. I really
listen, I'll do 3 hours of pizza talk. I mean, this is my life. I'll do this all the time. But I wanted to get a little background on you, Bill, for our audience. Obviously, people that are watching Gil maybe not be watching us. They're not awake at the same time, so they don't see you on every single week. How long have you been using sports betting as your main source of income?
Income since 92 or 93, I started out. But I've been betting sports since I was a little tyke. Yeah. Because, where we grew up, it's a rite of passage. New York, New Jersey, it's a rite of passage to have those football parlay cards. And
the sheets all the time.
The sheets. The sheets. They're called the sheets back there. You're right. They're football tickets there. Here they're parlay cards. Now I know how to use them in my advantage, though. Yes, believe it or not, there can be an advantage to a sucker bet. Just real simple. The cards come out on Wednesday. You can bet them on Sunday when the lines move and, put a couple of them together. So I'm sure if Derek's listening, he's really going to like me saying that because they do offer parlay cards still.
I used to run sheets. Mom and Dad, if you're watching, that's a lie.
Yeah. But it's funny. Now that you mention that, I was in 10th grade. So we used to get those parlay sheets, and they were numbered on them. I didn't realize that. So me and my friends had the genius idea to give them around people in high school. Mm-hmm. We're the wise guys in the school. And we decided to go to a copy machine and make like 25 copies of the same exact ticket.
Did you leave the master on the copy
machine? And we give them to our friends. And next thing you know, the guy that gave me the sheet, he found out. It went from Little Kingsburg, it went from to up to North Jersey to New York. I almost got myself clipped.
Oh, my God.
Like the sheets were controlled by the boys, let's face it. Yeah. And I didn't realize it in 10th grade. Your buddy gave it to you. But the guy that gave it to your buddy, he's like, who's this guy giving out the same numbers on all the sheets? It's the same exact number, and they weren't getting their taste. They weren't wetting their beak a little bit, and I almost got myself in trouble. But anyway, yeah. So I did that when I was a kid, gambling, New York, North Jersey, Central Jersey. It was a rite of passage, like I said. That's the best thing I could tell you is everyone gambles. Every family's a gambling family. When the kids go to sleep, literally Thanksgiving night, not Christmas Eve, but like New Year's. Kids go to sleep. The adults gamble. They play the men play.
Dice come out.
The men play. My uncles, my Italian uncles, corrupted my father, who was literally a regular country boy from Ohio, and they play pinochle every weekend. And the ladies play continental, gin, canasta. One of the games there.
My mom was a canasta.
Right. So they're all gambling for a little bit. My mother used to say, "We don't play cutthroat," because they didn't play cutthroat. They're playing for pennies, or the men's play for dollars. So we used to gamble, man. And my father took me to the racetrack with my mom's stepbrother and brothers, and probably corrupted them really bad because he never bet horses before. And, that hurt me. I was taking the bus, like I said, when I was 10 years old, thinking I was a little wise guy working on the boardwalk.
Going to Monmouth Park.
And blowing my money at the racetrack like a sucker with 25% holds. This week I had Larry Colmus, who called the Derby for 12 years now on NBC. I had him on my podcast. And I even said, Larry, listen, I'm not a horse guy. Even though I do go to Del Mar, I went to Saratoga 21 to 23 years in the summer. I'll bet $5-10 a race just to have some fun. But I'm not betting any serious money because they take 25% out of the pools.
Yep.
Exotics, 30% compared to sports, 4%.
And it was certainly an exciting derby as we had the longest shot come in to win, which was good for some squares, not good for the sharps, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know why I left.
Let me tell you who was.
We'll get into it coming up next.
Oh, got a break?
That,
all right, let's take a break.
And I definitely want to get some of your thoughts on the way that the industry has transitioned over the years. He's Bill Krackomberger. I'm Scott Seidenberg. This is The Look Ahead here on VSiN.
This is The Look Ahead on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Draft like no other, wine like no other. Play free during the PGA Tour with the Mayomi Dare to Play Unrivaled Golf Series. Enter 5 free contests to take your shot at a share of $25,000 in total cash prizes. Head to DraftKings.com/Mayomi now to join the action. Mayomi, flavor forward. 21 and over only. Terms and conditions and other eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Please drink responsibly. Scott Seidenberg back here on The Look Ahead, joined in studio by Bill Krackomberger. You follow him on Twitter at Bill Crackman. And you were talking about having Larry Colmus, the voice of the Triple Crown, on your podcast.
Yes.
You obviously talked about the long shot winning the Derby.
How about his call of it?
Yeah.
His call of the race was unbelievable. The end. As a matter of fact, on my Twitter last week, I actually tweeted out his overhead shot of it. It was unbelievable to hear him scream. A real good announcer will know when to raise his level and his voice. He did it at the exact perfect time, and Rich Strike. I mean, he did it so perfect. I said, I have to get this guy on the show. So I didn't know him, but I worked around some different people, and he came on, and he spent a half hour on the show. And he's calling this week. He's calling the Preakness. The Preakness. Is that Pimlico?
Pimlico, yep.
See how much I know about this stuff. And then, of course, the last leg is at the Belmont. It's the Belmont.
You ever been to the Belmont?
No.
Okay, so I used to work for a local New York radio station, and we always did live remote broadcasts at the Belmont. And so I went, pretty much every year would go, never actually into the race, but into the, just in the parking lot set up and everything. And whenever there's a Triple Crown possibility, 110,000 people at Belmont. First of all, that traffic.
Yeah.
Right? It's impossible. But it is a scene.
110,000 people fit at the racetrack?
You get 100,000 people there.
Wow. It's
on a Triple Crown year.
Yeah.
It is a scene to be seen. It's one of the most unreal experiences. And I've been to the Preakness also, but that was when I was in college, and it was like a whole drinking experience. I mean, they banned that on the infield now.
Right.
But this was very, very surreal. I highly recommend it. Only in a Triple Crown. I mean, go anyway.
Sure.
It's a great place. But on a Triple Crown year, it's the last leg. Everyone's rooting for it. Everyone's coming out for it. It's insane. Now, the only thing that I can compare to it, I've never been to a NASCAR race.
No.
And now that I live in Vegas, I'm hoping that I can go to a race here soon. But from the visuals of it, I'm thinking it must be like going to a NASCAR race where there's 100,000 people gathered in this one location.
Yeah.
But it's pretty surreal.
It's on my bucket list to go to the Derby. I do want to go to the Kentucky Derby one of these years.
That would be great. Never been to Churchill Downs. And I used to work for NBC, so we used to do broadcast.
Oh, cool.
I used to get a part of the broadcast all the time. So I've talked to Larry before. He's tremendous. You mentioned the thing about announcers. You know who comes to mind too? And maybe it's because today we just saw Pete Alonso hit that walk-off home run. Gary Cohn.
Oh, I love Gary Cohn. I think he's great. Gary Cohen used to work Sports Phone when I was a kid before you.
I know,
back in the 80s. Really?
Well,
oh, my God. So back in the 80s, we used to, you had no way to get it. There was no internet. And we used to call Sports Phone. All these guys, all these Mets announcers, all of these guys used to call.
It was all the WFAN guys.
WFAN guys.
Were the Sports Phone guys. Tom LaGreca, Bob Usler. These were all.
I used to hang up
John
on
Minko.
Certain guys I hung up on. Because, I couldn't win. There were jinxes. There were Jonas. I had to hang up. I don't care about the 13 cents. I had to hang up. My mother used to go crazy.
This is a history lesson, okay? Before there was, obviously, you getting scores on your phones, you would call up a place that would tell you the scores and the lines of the games.
976-1313.
And do you remember Tell Me also?
What was this?
Remember the automated service, Tell Me?
No.
You used to call. It used to be Tell Me. And you used to say, sports. And it would be like, all right, sports. And then you'd go, Knicks. And it would go, all right, the Cavaliers are beating the Knicks 27-25 in the first quarter.
Oh, my God. God.
You used to call an automated service that would give you
they used to cost you money, though, or no?
No, that was a free.
This was 13, went from 10 cents to 13 cents. We had a $90 phone bill in 1982. My mother wanted to kill me. She goes, what are you doing? I'm literally in ninth grade betting games and, calling Sports Phone at night trying to get – because it was the New York Post and the Daily News. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get the scores the next day. The next day, the papers come out and the West Coast games weren't on there. So I'd have to get them on Sports Phone, and it was just it was a little degens sickness.
That is hilarious. How talk to me about the changes that you've seen. Obviously, we're not calling Sports Phone anymore. We have the Sports Phone on our phones. We get all the scores we want. We have all the apps that we want. But how has that changed the sports betting landscape for you, what you have noticed over these years?
My life changed about 30 years ago when I got a phone call from someone to go down to Atlantic City, and he said, hey, listen, there's something going on at the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City. This bank of machines, these blackjack machines, there's something going on where it's an advantage play. I said, I didn't even know what advantage play meant. Mm-hmm. And I went down to there. I went down to the AC. And it was like 1 a.m. by the time I got off my second job. I worked 2 jobs. And I seen this whole bank on a Tuesday. These 12 machines were all taken. I said, this has to be it. So I'm sitting behind it, just sitting down, scouting the machine until one of the seats opened up. The end machine opened up. I remember like it was yesterday. I went right to the end, sat down there. And now I still don't know what I'm looking for because the guy on the phone that told me said something's going on, but he doesn't know exactly what it is. So I'm looking on my left to the guy next to me. Guy 6'6", 6'7", long lanky fingers. He was taking the rolls of dollars and putting them in the machine. And I'm looking, and I'm still don't know what I'm looking for. And I realize now it's $1 a hand blackjack. It's a video blackjack machine. If anyone knows blackjack out there used to be a surrender feature. You used to surrender and get back half your money at a lot of the casinos. Well, this machine was great because you play $1 per hand, and you get back your whole dollar. It was a flaw in the machine. It was a gaff, as we call it. You get back the whole buck. So if you had 16 verse 10, start over.
Yeah.
You have 13 verse 10, start over. You have a 17 verse 20, start over. Verse a 10, start over. So needless to say, I think I had like $2,000 in the bank. I went down there with $500, and I literally made $6,000 that night.
Oh my goodness!
I called out sick the next morning to work. I remember that. But the guy next to me would change my life. He said to me, can you please buy a couple of rolls of tokens off me instead of putting bills in? I said, oh, okay. He's like, we want to fill the hopper. They were called hoppers back then. There was no tickets in and out, by the way. It was coins.
Yep,
you used to have dirty buckets, and your hands were always disgusting when you're done touching the old dusty coins. So I put the coins in. And I followed the directions there to try to fill the hopper because you don't want the slot attendants coming over filling up the coins because they're going to say, God, we filled all these games for so many times. Something's going on here. So this whole bank of geniuses that they were, a couple of them. And next thing you know, he says,
they were selling you their coins.
Yeah, he was telling me, please put them in. We don't want them coming over here. And then you do a hand pay at the end when you were leaving, which mine was like $6,000, and the party was over the next morning. But it's amazing it lasted the 3 nights, and I got there for the last night. So literally, he says to me, do you bet with any bookmakers? And I was like, well, of course. I live in North Jersey. He goes, well, if I bet with my Philadelphia bookmakers, if you have a New York bookmaker, we can middle games. I was like, I don't know what middle games means. I don't know what that means. He goes, well, if you bet the Giants up there where you are, the line's -4, and if I bet them over here, I get the regular, offshore line, and plus there's some offshore sports books that offer you bonuses. So you could send $1,000 to a different sports book, and they'll give you a bonus. Well, I didn't even know what he was talking about. Back then, they used to have places that were just starting out called Dial a Bet, English sports betting, Gary Bowman in England, Bowman's. These were places you would send money to. They would give you 100% deposit. So literally, I took $1,000, I sent it to Jamaica, and I got $1,000 matched and had $2,000 in that sports book. And then the same thing, I did it in England, got $2,000 matched. And I would use those sports books against my local guys with my buddy Frank, who I wound up being partners with now for 10 years. 10 years we were partners. Wow. Met him at that night, that machine. If that machine added a 12, I'm a 12-1 shot. That machine opened up. If that one doesn't open up, I'm still grinding out 2-3 jobs a week trying to save $100 a week.
Wow.
He changed my life that night. He knows it. I brought him on the Showtime show with me, Action. Still friends with him to this day. At the time, he was the head of the card count team at Resorts. He worked for a casino before he retired. He was the head of the card count team at Resorts in Atlantic City, and he taught card counting to some of his friends too. And I was one of them that I knew a little bit about it. My cousin Anthony, the pizza guy, believe it or not, he knew about card counting and some stuff. He used to count down decks, and Frank wound up changing my life. We were partners for years. I came out to Vegas. The Stratosphere Tower was opening. Whatever year that was, I remember they were opening, and literally we were betting a place in Australia called CanBet at the Australian Canterbury Downs. Their lines were so different than Las Vegas lines. I built my first initial bankroll, literally thousands of dollars I made just coming out to Vegas that trip. I said, this is my future. There's no way I'm going to be working a regular 9 to 5 when I made like $6,000 on that machine. I made $5,000 coming to Vegas my first trip, middling games for $500 each. I remember the Stratosphere, the first middle I ever hit was a $500 bet there and a $500 bet in Australia, and literally made $1,000. I won both sides of it. I said, this is something I got to start doing, and literally here we are today. And there's more to it.
And this translates into what we have now in the industry, which is the ability to line shop. He's Bill Krackomberger. We're going to get more coming up next. I'm Scott Seidenberg. This is The Look Ahead right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is The Look Ahead on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The VSiN Spring Special is here for only $59. You get everything VSiN has to offer from now until the end of July. The next few months are going to be filled with the best betting content in the business right here at VSiN.com. Subscribers will have access to all of it, including Adam Burke's daily MLB best bets. Mine as well. They're there. Jonathan Von Tobel will have his best bets all the way through the NBA Finals. Andy McNeil is going to break down all the action on the ice all the way through the Stanley Cup Final. We have lots of NFL preseason coverage, best bets, premium articles covering golf, UFC, NASCAR, USFL. So if you want the full VSiN experience, you get the daily best bets email, every edition of Point Spread Weekly, use of our betting tools, and the live video stream. It's only $59 to be a subscriber through July 31st. Sign up now, vsin.com/spring. Scott Seidenberg back here, joined in studio by Bill Krackomberger. You follow him on Twitter at Bill Crackman. Follow me at Scott's On Air. Bill, you were telling the story about how you were middling by using different books. And I think that's interesting because it's kind of the evolution of what we have right now, which is, I think, the best thing about widespread legalization of sports betting is all of the sports books that are available, because you can line shop. And if you're not doing it, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Listen, you're not going to beat sports, even with the best information in the world, without line shopping. I mean, I shouldn't say that. If you're an originator, of course you're going to beat it, but usually you're taking second and third numbers. You're just not going to beat it without line shopping. You got to have more than one office, and you have to have the Circa. You have to have different places in town that take bets too. Westgate takes bets off me. Circa does. South Point in person takes bets off me. And now I'm actually finally got reinstated at Caesars. I was, thrown out for winning from William Hill for the last year and a half. So I got myself back in, and literally was betting. I was over there this morning firing a ton of money on some futures this morning. So you have to have more shops. You have to. When I go back to Jersey, I spend my winters literally as much time as I can in New Jersey, because I have the DraftKings, the FanDuels, and the apps. And not only that, let me just be blunt with you. The bonuses. The bonuses are unbelievable. So,
I read something that if a new sports bettor in New Jersey, with the amount of books that are available, not just sports books but casinos, can make over $10K in free bets.
Yeah, I make $10K in free, not only free bets, free money.
Yeah,
I look for the sign up bonuses that are actually giving you cash sign up. So I have some places out there that I'm at a level where I have VIP hosted a lot of places, and they'll actually give me, like, if I put like a lot of money up, they'll give me like 20%. So I literally started this year I was trying to think if I should say it or not, that's why I was hesitating there, where I put like 50,000 up at one book. They give me 10,000 cash.
Wow.
So listen, there's money to be made on bonuses. There's money to be made on those free bets also. You have to know how to use them to also, like, you don't want to get a free bet. Most of the sportsbooks will offer free bets now. You don't want to get a free bet and bet like a minus 180 to win, like, 180 to win $600.
You lose the whole value of that money.
You actually want to take underdogs.
Yes.
You actually want to take maybe an underdog 150, 180, 200. You want to make sure that you're getting a good ROI for your investment. So there's also other ways to do it. You can middle and scalp like I did when I was younger. By the way, I don't think I've middled or scalped games in 20-some years. That's the way I was building up a bankroll in the 90s, early 2000s. I don't middle and scalp anymore because, I can't get enough money down on the side I want. There's we only have, people think sports betting is such a big edge when you're an advantage sports bettor. I only have like a 2, 3, I'll even stretch it and say on certain props a 5% edge. So think about that. For every $1,000 I bet, at the top of my game, a 5% edge, I'm literally gaining $50. So I have to bet 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 a play in order to get back that ROI of $500 or $300. And so I have to have a lot of money in action. There's no money for, I don't make bets with the intent of hedging. I never want to give negative EV on the other side of a bet. So I'm not a hedge guy. I never bet the hedge. The only time you're really going to hedge on something, if you see the flow of the game differently, if maybe some weather comes into play, maybe an injury, but very rarely, because you have to lay money on the second hedge bet. You're actually betting into negative EV. You're laying 11 to 10. By the time I'm done making a bet, or even giving my followers a bet, we're laying 3 points when the line closes 4, and that's what you want to do. You want to beat the closing line.
Yep.
CLV, closing line value. No matter who says what, in the end, closing line value means money. Yeah, listen, you can have a losing week, month. I've had losing months. I had a 6 streak up until February that I won 8 months in a row, but you have a losing month here and there. It's going to happen. Even with the best, sharpest information in the world, you will lose. So that's why you have to have bankroll management. That's probably the most important of anything I can ever talk about. It's an overblown thing. People talk about bankroll management. It's over. I know it's overblown. Most people that talk about it, though, they don't even know what it is. They just hear someone else say it, and they want to throw their 2 cents in and act like they know what it is. You really are supposed to bet a percentage of bankroll. And when I say that, you'll be shocked to know that it's as little as 1% or 2%. First of all, you want to have an allotted bankroll just for sports betting, not for dinner out with your buddies, not for a beer, not for going on vacation with your family, not for going to the movie theater, just for sports betting, nothing else. So you're going to take that bankroll and you're going to bet 2% of bankroll. You may be able to bet 3% depending on the sport and the event, but that's what you want to do, Scott. You want to make sure you're betting percent of bankroll.
Yep.
And by the way, your percent will remain the same, but your bankroll will go up. That means your bet size will go up. So I'll give an example. If you start with $1,000, you're supposed to bet $20. That's right, 20 little grocery dollars per game. And literally, once the 20s add up to 1,100, 1,200, 1,500, now you're betting 30.
Now you're
30
betting
becomes
50.
40 to 50. And that's exactly how you make your money. And that's how I started, by the way.
Yeah.
I started with percentage of bankroll. And
well, the first thing that I did, and when I started taking this seriously, is I have a separate bank account.
Yep.
That's my sports betting account.
Sure.
So I know my money's separate. I have a job, right? This is I get a salary. This is my job. And I've always had a job. And I'm not a professional sports bettor. I never claimed to be a professional sports bettor. I'm not betting the volume to be a professional sports bettor and quit every job that I have. I am what I would say I'm a recreational bettor that takes it seriously.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the way I frame it.
You almost have no choice to be sharp, though. All the people you're around, the shows you do, the Twitter accounts you're reading.
I learn every day. I learn from people like you. I learn from people like Randy McKay, who we have on the show from time to time.
Love Randy.
The sharper a person is, the more I respect them, the more I want to learn more from them. Yeah. And I'm sure there's people out there that you respect and that you are still learning from.
I do, but not to the percentage that you think.
Okay.
There's a lot of people on Twitter that are under fictitious names and fake names. Even some of the sharper guys under fake names. I post under Bill Krackomberger. That's my real name. I'm not hiding under any anonymity.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure you're real if I'm going to respect you or follow you. And I find on Twitter there's a lot of guys that are really good on there. I'm actually shocked they're on there. These were the guys that were picked last for the kickball teams when we were kids. So these are the guys that we made fun of in school. These are the guys that are inverted, quiet, kind of, I'm not going to say geeky type, but I guess I am because I just said it. So
we call them numbers guys.
Yeah, these are the analytical number. Back in Jersey and New York, I used to call them the bugs. But yeah, so these are the guys that the sharpest, some of the sharpest guys in the world. Mm-hmm. Now they want to be recognized. Now they want to be somebody because they were kicked around when they were kids. Now they say, I have something. I can beat sports. Let me show you a little bit. So sometimes they'll talk too much and actually cost themselves money. They'll teach the value of 3 in the NFL, buying on or off of 3. When you used to be 10 cents, by the way, to buy on or off of 3, which is the keyest number in the NFL. 18% of the games that were line 3 landed on 3. And these guys talk too much and the value goes away. That little nugget of information will cost them money down the line. But some of them are still so happy they can talk about how smart they are now that they'll forego that money and just to have a little bit of recognition. And I'm not trying to make fun of them. I understand it, but sometimes some of these little Twitter space meetings and stuff that happens, wow. I'll tell you, I love helping people, by the way. And I definitely admit, guys, I'm talking about these people. I'm one of them. I'll talk too much. I'll help people too much. But some of the Twitter space stuff that's going on right now, my mouth's open when I listen to it. I can't believe some of the good stuff out there. I'm not going to tell you guys anymore. You find it. But it's out there. I just seen it the other night. I was like, I can't believe these people are talking about. You can almost reverse engineer some of the stuff. So that's why I think that up to a certain point, you have to get regular income doing things, and it's the reason why I opened up my site, the Crack Win site. I mean, we give away real stuff too. We talk about. I hate guys that sell picks. I can't take them. I go after them all the time. I've been going after them for years. So I know my stuff's real. My stuff's syndicate stuff. My stuff moves. I challenge almost anyone else except for Right Angle Sports to do that.
You said a key word, and I want to get into it.
Sure.
Okay, because it just triggered a thought point in my head. He's Bill Krackomberger. I'm Scott Seidenberg. More coming up on the Look Ahead here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is the Look Ahead on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Baseball predictions made brighter. Join the Born in a Ballpark Challenge presented by Blue Moon to compete free for cash all season. Enter weekly prediction pools to fight for your share of $62,500 in total cash prizes. Head to DraftKings.com/Blue Moon now to join the action. Blue Moon made brighter. 21 and over only. Terms and conditions and other eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Please drink responsibly. Scott Seidenberg back here on the Look Ahead here on VSiN, joined in studio by Bill Krackomberger. Hit him up on Twitter at Bill Crackman. And you mentioned a word before we hit the break, Bill. You said syndicate.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always been curious because I know that there's been syndicates that have moved lines in the past. It still exists.
Sure.
There are still people out there, groups that will move the lines.
Oh, there are guys that formulate the lines that the bookmakers can't wait for you to bet because they take your bets. These guys here, Matt Metcalf and crew, they're happy to take a bet off of a syndicate group because then they know how to, and
then they adjust their line accordingly.
They adjust their line accordingly. So you'll take a bet from a guy like Bill Krackomberger. You'll move your line or overmove your line, and you'll get people on the other side of it where certain sports books in town, they're petrified of syndicates, of anyone that wins.
Yes.
They don't want them at all. They're not smart enough to have an in-house staff that can adjust and use your information. They just want everyone to be a sucker.
Which is the problem that we had a couple of weeks ago with our very own James Salinas, who was trying to make the draft bet. I'm sure you heard the story about what happened up there in Colorado. And that's the thing. If your book is not smart enough to like take the bet from James and then adjust your lines.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously respecting his information.
Sure.
Like, he's got to know something. If you place a bet, the book's got to know, all right, I respect this money coming in. Now I'm going to adjust my line accordingly based on where you are now dictating the lines.
Yeah, that you're talking about Dave Portnoy.
Yes.
And I never talk bad about anybody. It's just not what I do. I actually like Dave. But I know Dave will get on there and talk about things that, I hate to say it like this, but he just doesn't know what he's talking about in that situation.
It's fair. He's not in this business.
Yeah, he's not in that business. So, and it's a shame that someone puts him in that position. Someone doesn't sharpen him up ahead of time because, that company can use someone like Salinas, even myself, or other bettors to help their staff be a better bookmaking staff instead of throwing them out, making fun of them on air and saying things about them. I don't like that. I mean, I don't do it. I don't like talking bad about people, and it's just not. It's not a good look. But take a bet and move your line. That's where you put the bet out there to take a bet. And you're seeing it more and more where they just want to book one-way action. The little books that come into this country that just want to book one-way action. They just want to book. I actually make fun of it and say, they should change their name to WeWantLosersOnly.com. It's just a made-up thing because that's basically what they want. So,
someone's going to go out and buy that website.
Yeah. So there are syndicates though that, and to use the word syndicate, everyone gets scared like you're talking about a mafia syndicate. Of course not. You're talking about a very smart, model-driven, analytical, based sports betting group of guys that will have one guy up front, and he'll make the bets for the originators that work for the group. And literally, his job is to facilitate all different places to bet all around, maybe even the world. And they're some of the sharpest guys in the world. And these guys that work behind the books, they know a lot of these syndicates.
Yeah.
So, but if they throw a guy like Bill Krackomberger out, like Stations threw me out for winning, so Stations, that what they'll do is they'll throw someone out, $1 billion company out. But let's be blunt, guys. Everyone beards back in. So now you're not going to know who Bill Krackomberger's name, who he's playing under. I could be playing under your name, and they don't know I'm playing under your name, but it's my information. But now they don't know it, so they don't catch on to it for a while. And then finally, they're going to ban you because they're going to see the lines moving in your favor, and they're going to ban you. So I'll never understand that, actually, why you would throw people out if you have a good customer base of – think about it. They're coming into your casino. They're posting their money up. You're laying 11 to 10. And they're hoping you don't lose your tickets or you don't die. I mean, that's what you're hoping, and they're hoping you do. It's I hate to be so blunt and like that, but that's what it is. So, So there are, going back to your question. Yes, there are probably about 5 or 6 of them during football season, and before we go off here, I want to make sure everyone knows this. I don't bet NFL sides or NBA sides. You want to know why? They're unbeatable. That's right. Show me someone that beats NBA or NFL long term. I'm not talking about over a week, a day, a month. Long term, NBA is so much randomness. NFL, so much randomness. I concentrate on other things. I concentrate on things that totals, maybe first half totals, proposition bets, very, very profitable in proposition bets. Maybe some correlated parlays, maybe some teasers, certain advantage teasers if they have the right juice, the right price, or the key numbers. These are the things. Golf matchups, and even NASCAR I'll bet. I'll bet NASCAR matchups, golf, good information, knowing the things that are going on at the golf course, knowing some caddies and stuff. It's all about, and I'm not going to use the word inside information because that's an overblown word.
Of course.
It is not inside information. It's just little random things you can pick up. Live wagering. You can win betting live betting. It's definitely a winnable thing. However, you're paying double the juice. Just think about that. You're not laying 110 on both sides, then you're laying 120 on both sides or 115 on both sides. So you're laying 50 to 100% more in juice. And number one thing I want to tell you about that is only bet during the commercials. I've seen some stuff. I've been in some trading rooms, some trading desk. I can't believe what goes on. So you want to bet during the commercials because you're on a 7 to 10 second delay when you're watching an event. Then maybe you'll even get another 5-second AM frequency delay. You want to make sure that you're only betting during commercials, guys. So I'm giving out a lot of nuggets here all in one shot. And the last thing before we do go off something else I want to talk about real quick. Randy McKay, you said. Randy, one of the sharpest guys in the industry. I talked about him on the earlier show. He's great. He moved to Colorado. I mean, the guy moved to Colorado for sports betting, because of these new all these different places that are in the jurisdictions, and it's the closest to Las Vegas. Well, now Arizona probably is, but that had these new companies. Randy also one of the sharpest machine guys in the world. He knows everything about slot machines.
Big video poker guy, right?
Video poker, when there's certain edges you can get on video poker at a certain level of a progressiveness, but he also knows about these bonus machines and stuff. If he's playing something in a casino, you can guarantee there's an edge. So there's a good prop.
I love that.
Randy.
We've had Randy on the show multiple times. If you're listening, Randy, we'll talk to you soon, get you on again. I wanted to ask you real quick before you go. Have you ever or will you ever get off of a side that you are on, a bet that you are on, because somebody that you respect is on the other side? If you find out, you're on a total, you're on the over 20.5 in the first half of the Giants and the Eagles game, and then somebody that you know and respect is on the under, will you back off your bet because of that?
Yeah, a lot of guys will. They'll say, "Oh my God, this certain group is on this side of the game. We're betting the other side." Well, first of all, if that group's on the game, you can guarantee it moved a couple of points. Now it's a total different bet. Even that group will say, if something moved from 1.5 to 4.5 in college basketball through the
completely different handicap
through the key numbers, the 4.5 may be the sharp side now. They may even say to bet both sides of the game. Me personally, the originators I've worked with in my life, they have not cared what someone else was on. They're confident in their own side, and they're confident in their own handicapping abilities. They're going to bet their side no matter what, and they're welcome to someone else. But they do. Yet I know someone back in Philly that's really sharp, and he wants to know the reasons why someone's on there. He goes, "Wow, why would the old man be on that?" And I'll just tell you guys, for all you guys that don't know, the old man is Doc Midland. So Doc may be on his program, may be on something, and they'll say, "Wow, I wonder why the old man bet that side." And they'll try to think, and maybe he'll even be a little more reserved in judgment of picking the side he wants. By the way, that's the real syndicate kind of guys. Doc Midland, Billy Walters.
Billy Walters.
Billy Walters is an overblown name. People always talk about him, but there's, Larry Delmar, Doc Midland, the old guys of the industry. These guys have been around for years. They've used Michael Kent's program. If anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about here, you could just Google the word "The Computer Group" sports betting. You can read the stories on that back in the 70s and 80s of these first computer programs that were built.
In the basements.
The IBM program that was built at Monmouth College in New Jersey. And this Doc Midland was a hand doctor. Oh, no, he wasn't a hand doctor. He was a general surgeon, hand doctor, another syndicate guy. But he literally worked at a hospital in Red Bank, New Jersey, and he became one of the really sharpest guys in the world from this program. And Billy Walters actually found him. And there's a great story on it, and Billy's writing a new book on it. And just to let all you guys know, all my experiences with Billy in my life, and I'm glad that I got to know him, and he's always treated me fantastically. A lot of people don't care for Billy. I'll tell you right now, all my experiences with Billy, one of the most generous guys I've ever seen, helping people financially in the industry. Yeah, okay, he did send out some of the wrong games and stuff to put people on the other side and, to put you on that street, but there's all reasons for it, so he was always a good guy.
We had a great interview with Billy around the Super Bowl. You can go to the VSiN YouTube page, catch that Billy Walters interview. It was absolutely fantastic. Bill, this was fantastic. Got to get you on again. Bill Krackomberger, hit him up on Twitter, @Bill Crackman. I'm Scott Seidenberg. This is The Look Ahead here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.